We know that force on a body moves it with an acceleration. However, there are plenty of occasions where we have tried pushing a heavy object, but it never moved. Why does this happen? Let's study. When a block is pulled by a spring balance, then force acts on the block. For the sake of convenience, this force is applied in a direction parallel to the surface of the table. The value of the force can be known from the spring balance. On slowly increasing the value of the force, it is realized that up to a certain maximum value of the force, the block is not at all displaced. Why does this happen? On account of cold welding between two surfaces, the block obviously cannot move at all. Until the block does not move further, it must be said that the external force on the block and the frictional forces arising due to forces responsible for sticking the surfaces must be balancing each other. Further, by increasing external force, the forces keeping the block in a position of rest must also be increasing. Such a frictional force is known as static frictional force, symbolically Fs. Thus, even on applying external force, the block does not move. This frictional force, which opposes the applied force, is called static frictional force. Now, on increasing external force continuously, we find that for a certain minimum value of external force, the block begins to slide on the surface of the table. This minimum value provides the value of maximum static frictional force, that is, Fs max. The force of reaction applied on the body by the surface in a direction perpendicular to it is known as normal force. Laws of static friction. 1. The maximum frictional force, Fs max, does not depend on the area of surface in contact. 2. The maximum frictional force is proportional to the normal force, N. Normal forces are shown in two different cases. For the horizontal surface, the normal force is exactly equal to the weight of the body. Note it well that the normal force is perpendicular to the surface in contact, whereas frictional force is parallel to that surface. According to the second law of static friction, Fs max is directly proportional to N. Therefore, Fs max equals mu, S multiplied by N. Mu S is known as the coefficient of static friction. When the block does not get displaced, then, as we have seen earlier, the value of static frictional force Fs must be less than Fs max. Hence, Fs is less than mu S times N. Let us summarize what we have learned in this session. Frictional force, which opposes applied force, is called static frictional force. The force of reaction perpendicular to the body applied by the surface is called normal force. Friction does not depend on the area of contact surface, and maximum friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction force.